to the PunchCast episode 3, Redux.
Yes, Redux.
we can't talk about that. Lost to the sands of time.
The lost episode that shall never be. It was a damn good episode.
Which I heard, but we couldn't use for technical reasons. But there was a thing about Welsh cakes in there, which is a thing that John Bennett likes, and is a thing that it is only in Wales. And I've got them here for the first time to try right now on the podcast.
Welcome to the PunchCast, aka the Foodcast.
But
Foodcast.
to the listeners, they won't know what that's in reference to, and never mind.
That episode also had my apology to the ice cream farm in it. I want to personally apologize to the ice cream farm employees and managers for not believing that it was a real place. And it is, in fact, a real place. Very Willy Wonka ice cream themed, essentially. God, they did have some good sounding flavors, though, when Liam shared the pictures.
Oh man, I forgot about that. That was a great episode.
It was a great episode.
It's funny because for 8-Bit Chimp, our first episode we recorded, but it got messed up. But then we just re-recorded the same episode.
Like word for word?
I mean, we talked about the same stuff and
just
kind of
pretended.
Pretended, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Pretended it never happened. So I'm glad we didn't do that because it was kind of ridiculous.
It's such a shame that that's dead, though. That was a really fun episode.
Here's an update, though, that the Welsh cakes are lovely. They're very, very nice.
Are you supposed to heat them up like you would, or you put butter on them?
You put them in the toaster, and then I just put some butter on them. But because they've been sat on the side waiting for the podcast to start, they are now a bit dry tasting, but still nice. So
you still need to ship me some of this shit.
I'm sure you could order it.
That's true. I probably could actually. Let me check.
I've got 2 of them here on the plate. I've got 4 of them just waiting for me to eat after the podcast, which I can't wait for. So let's hurry up with the show. Come on.
Okay, here we go. 6 flavor variety box, 24 cakes for $30.
Oh, what, for the Welsh cakes?
Yeah.
Huh.
By the Welsh Baker, apparently, is a company that will Amazon these to. God, it's not. Ooh, lemon poppy though. That sounds good.
You can just make your own. Just look up one of them recipes.
I could just make pancakes. It's the same shit.
It's just, a bigger, doughier pancakes, but they are delicious. I
don't know what half these things are. People also search for Barra Birth, Welsh Rarebit, Call, Eccles Cake, Laver, Zonti
Eccles
Current,
cake is nice.
a scone. There's the first thing.
That sounds like a Ghostbusters villain.
I was like, what? Apparently those are also Welsh things. I wish John Bennett was here. We could talk about Call, which looks like stew,
How have
I think.
not had these before? These are great. These are fucking great. Anyway, I'm so sorry. Anyway.
How far is Wales from you?
Oh, for me, I live in Chester in the UK, so it is about 2 miles. I live just on the border, so yeah.
How have you not had them then if they're in the outside?
Well, because, I don't know, it's like with anything in Wales, you just tend to ignore it and hope it goes away.
Jesus.
But with the bakery side, that tastes nice, so why would you ignore that is what I'm realizing. So.
Well, John also said that you have to get the fresh ones, but you have packaged ones, yeah?
I have packaged one, yes. And, I bought them on the day after hearing last week's recording, so they've been sat in the bread bin for a week, and now they've been sat on the side for about 10 minutes. So they're not fresh in any way, but, whatever.
Man, we're just going to start every episode about some sort of food that has been going on.
That's the aim. Or just with just complete and utter bullshit. That would be good.
Yeah, it's fun to just shoot the shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyways, I didn't even introduce anybody.
I
don't think.
Well, we know who's here this week. Me.
Did I do that? I don't think I did.
No.
You did not.
Okay. As always, I'm your host, Evan, and with me returning for a groundbreaking, 5 episodes in a row, 6 counting the Dead Zone one, Kevin.
Yes, I'm here. I'm happy to be here. Lots of things to talk about.
And the devilishly handsome Liam.
Hello, I'm also here with my mouth full.
That's the best way to be, is just eating something constantly.
Yeah. Oh, yes, for sure.
This is the show this week. Small group. Those are cool, though. Basically, we are in the last huzzah of the kind of spring gaming season before the summer drought comes. to date ourselves whenever this comes out. Who knows? Maybe never.
I can't wait for that drought though, because I've got a ton of games that I still haven't played or started or done anything with. I've just bought them.
I know, that's why I'm so excited for that. Overwatch is kind of the last game, and that's a game you can just shove a whole bunch of hours into, which I totally plan on doing.
Yeah, for sure.
But this week, the hot shit. I mean, I guess there's two hot shits, but
2 hot shits this week.
2 steaming hot shits.
But I'm installing the second hot shit right now, but I have not played it yet. But the first one that we've all finished and is pretty sweet is Uncharted 4.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I only just got to the end a few hours ago, or my morning, basically, after playing it over the course of a week, just here and there. And yes, that is a lovely, lovely game.
You say the course of a week? It's been like 4 days.
Well, no, has it been? Well, I just mean, like, in my head, because I'm tired, it has been a week, but, like...
Yeah, I did 3 playthroughs. I got the platinum, played a little bit of multiplayer, which is real nice. Yeah.
But, I mean, like, the first time, he kind of did it all in basically one sitting, and there was a tiny bit of sleep in between. Yeah. Whereas with me, I've been like, I'll kind of play it for 2 or 3 hours here and there. So
yeah, I finished it like yesterday afternoon. So basically did it in 3-ish sittings, give or take. I had one suit. Yesterday was I played from like chapter 11 or something all the way till the end. So I pretty much just steamrolled the rest.
But I got my halfway point, the point to which I played up until, and then once I got to that point, and then got to the very end of the game was chapter 12, and then I just stormed it all, basically, because towards the end the pace does ramp up like hugely, and it's quite hard to put down, so yeah.
Except when it rips you out in like chapter like 17.
Well, we'll talk about that for sure. Yeah, for sure. I know Kevin last week talked about, because he got it prior to launch, he was very lucky to get an early copy of it, and he did the review at groundpunch.com, which you can read, and it's very good.
It's all right. I'm a little rusty with. I haven't written anything in many moons. I just make dumb pictures now.
We have made the transition from 8-Bit Chimp to our new site, a Ground Punch, and in that time I haven't actually written too much, and I've just started to now, and it's like shitting out glass. It's like it's really odd and quite hard to get back into the groove of. Anyway, but it's a good review, Kane. Don't be so silly.
It's alright.
Yeah, I haven't read it. It's probably awful, but
yeah. Bruce Straley of Naughty Dog said he liked it, so that's all that matters.
Well, there we go.
I don't even know who that is.
He's the man at Naughty Dog.
Ah, cool. So, Kev, you played the most, so why don't you go and just give your nice roundup thoughts.
I should have probably pulled up my review. That would have been a smart thing to do before this.
You could have ran down that last paragraph or something.
Yeah, let's do that. So I gave it a 10. We don't have a
dessert, but okay.
Oh, okay. we don't have phrasing
already
for
a bone of contention. He's barely started. Okay,
that's fine. I mean, he doesn't have to love it. I absolutely love it.
I still loved it. It's just not a perfect game.
10 does not mean perfect. Exactly.
It means about as close as we're gonna get without. Because there's never gonna be like it's the best game ever. There's no flaws.
Anyway, it's numbers and no one cares. Carry on, Kevin.
So, yeah, I give it a 10. So I said there's so much greatness within Uncharted 4 Thief's End, far more than a single review can or should hold. Uncharted 4 is wholeheartedly a journey full of secrets and nostalgia and contains a plethora of treasures within. This is a final chapter that ties a beautifully crafted bow around the Nathan Drake saga. It's greatness that must be experienced, not told. Greatness from small beginnings encompasses both Naughty Dog and the Uncharted franchise in one fell swoop that is blissfully accurate. Charmingly so. Previous to playing Uncharted 4, I don't think I could have let go of Nathan Drake. I could have never said goodbye. I never wanted to say goodbye. Now, there's only one thing I can say now. See you around, cowboy. The end.
Yeah, see those words? They're fine. They're all good.
A Cowboy Bebop end, almost.
Yeah. It's what Elena says when I thought, Drake or Elena might, fall off a cliff or something. Yeah,
I was anticipating that until about halfway through, and I was like, that's not gonna happen.
Yeah. They definitely...
We should also mention, hardcore spoilers, but I'm assuming by the time this comes out, most people will have seen it, so.
Uncharted 6 is out now.
Spoilers, at the end, but yeah, I think we should
let's just go for it.
Just fucking dive into it, yeah. But I guess we can start with overall, as in the gameplay stuff, what we thought of that before going off into, story stuff, which is obviously the meat of it.
I definitely want to say this too, because I feel like, the the Uncharted games are always written so well. Like, they are, top notch as far as writing comes.
Yeah.
And in that, Naughty Dog gets away with having, like, the most boring, mundane gameplay ever. The Uncharted games, they're fun and they distract you from how the gameplay is actually, like, just boring and brain dead. So, like, I feel like in this one especially, because I feel like it does drag on a little bit too long near the end. But I forgave it because the characters are always interesting, but then they have, like, you're doing these stupid puzzles and they're all, like, a little bit too long and stupid, and you're just constantly shooting people to the point where, like, even the characters are mentioning that, like, this is going on real long, and you're like, what the I don't even understand.
I mean, there isn't, to my mind, an awful lot of combat in the game, certainly compared to, the other games, and I would completely agree, though, that the other games, especially two which I loved, though, but the other games did fall into certain traps in terms of, here's a big room and here's all the guys coming from 3 different spots and they're going to respawn and they'll get harder as you go along the game, and it's quite repetitive, yes. But I feel like this one mixed it up massively, and the combat wasn't even a big deal. And then, when it was a big deal, it was very rarely a straight up a shootout, which is possibly why the ending for you may have gone on a little bit, because the end was a bit more guilty of that. There was just rooms, you had to clear out the rooms. But I kind of found with the firefights, I will just talk about them for a second. There was always something else going on. It was always in a cool location, or the thing with this game is that everything is bigger, or the environments are bigger. So it was really nice to have that freedom of movement to, if you want to go stealthy, which I did a lot, then you can. Or if you want to, just kind of try out different ways, then you can. It isn't a Far Cry. It isn't broad. It isn't, huge in its scope, but you have got that kind of a different scope, for sure.
And that's one of the things I really did appreciate, because I think it's something like only 4 or maybe 5 sections you have to kill everyone. Otherwise, like, you can just sneak past, you can get caught and then just, like, go stealth and lose like, the bad guys and have them, like, go back to their patrol. So that is one thing I thought was great, because my first playthrough for the majority, like, I did try to, like, sneak by, and I did appreciate, like, it wasn't just like, oh, here's this room, yep, here they're all funneling in, you have to shoot every single guy in the face to move on. It was like, hey, I can sneak past if I, watch their patrols. If I do enough sneaking, I could do that. And I did really appreciate that. And like you said, even like in some of the combat situations where you had to kill the guys, I felt like they were a lot more dynamic than just like, oh, here's a spawn point, they're all coming in from here. They were in cool locations, like you said, and there was always something big and exciting kind of tied into that, whether it was, a building collapsing, cool location. I felt like they were way, way, way more dynamic than anything that they did in any of the previous Uncharted games. Even like Last of Us, I know like they added stealth, but it was 9 times out of 10, like you had to clear out most of the rooms in The Last of Us, even though there was stealth included. It was like, oh, have to shiv this guy, have to get that guy. Here's a brick, I'll smash this guy. So I appreciate that they moved on from just kill everyone to move on.
Oh yeah, for sure. And even in this game, like, just say, even though the war mechanics, the shooting, the melee, all that good stuff has been improved, that's still not really the strength of these games. And there are other games that kind of do these things a lot better. There are better cover-based shooters out there. There are better like hand-to-hand things going on. That's fine. But what Uncharted did, or Uncharted 4 did especially, was I had loads of fun putting together my own set pieces almost, where because the controls are quite accessible and you're not too deep, you've got the freedom to just have a thought about what you want to do and how you want it to look cool, and then you just kind of fucking do it. And it just looks really, really sweet. Like, oh, there's a rope, I'm going to go on, there's a rope, and there's a guy I can punch, and then I can get on top of this guy and then shoot him in the face, and it all flows really well. And of course you've got the great music that goes along with it, that has this uncanny thing of being like an exact match for what's going on sometimes. That's really, really cool. And obviously all the character interactions that are always going on throughout, which is always awesome. And, it looks great. So, like, as a package, it really is, I think, a step above. Whereas, the core mechanics kind of maybe aren't the best, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I like that they did open up most of, like, the encounter areas are kind of big, and, they have, here's a big thing with a rope on it, you could swing and punch a guy from the skies. And the stealth was okay, except I never used it because they put it in, but they didn't go like far enough. Like you can't, why can't Drake throw a rock or whistle some guy over?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Like it feels like they just didn't put enough of this. Like the only stuff is, look, there's tall things you can hide in the grass, and then you might be able to grab a guy if he walks by. And they're all programmed to walk by you. But it just didn't feel like I had enough control to where I could like set up anything where it's like, all right, I took out everybody after waiting like 5 minutes and I just dropped them all left and right.
And like that has to be like an intentional thing. Because say in The Last of Us, you could say throw a rock, or you could a signal to the enemies. That has to be an intentional pacing issue with Uncharted. It's like it's meant to be fast and free throwing, but there was times where I'm like, there's a guy just there, but he's not moving, and if he just moved to where I am just a little bit, I could take him out. Whereas quite a lot of times you would start off in stealth. Almost certainly at some point it would just end up in a big shootout, which is fine. But yeah.
Yeah, that's why anytime after like the first kind of time where you actually can use stealth in the the auction area, like chapters 6 through like 8 essentially.
Yeah. They're
like, look, you can stealth around, and I was like, yeah, I'll try it, and then it didn't pan out, and I was like, I don't have time for this, so I just walk up and start shooting immediately. I was like, I'm renting this game, it's costing me money by the day, I'm just gonna shoot everyone.
Just gonna power through it.
I mean, but I did enjoy that it was a little more open. It wasn't like these corridors of like, all right, move from box to box as you shoot people through the area.
Yeah.
Like it was fun to swing around and punch guys, and the times when I did kind of pull off a slightly stealthy, at least, start to an encounter, like you said, that almost always ends up you start shooting at somebody.
Yeah.
It was fun to swing around and get the drop on people. Like it was pretty fun. Like as weird as they make you use the stupid rope like a lot in this game.
They do, yes.
Like almost every area is like, and it pops up like so obnoxiously on your screen, like even when you're not
really
necessarily even looking at it, it's just like, hey, look, there's a rope, and you're like, I get it, there's a rope. And then it shows up, and you're like, okay, that's cool, thanks, Dick.
What did you think of the platforming stuff? Because again, like it has always been really simple
mundane.
And well, yeah, no, I didn't think it was boring necessarily, but I don't know, with this one, because the animations were so great, like I never minded doing it at all. And with the rope, that added a cool new wrinkle, and that always looked cool. But they did also introduce I forget how you say it. Is it a python? A python?
Yeah,
thing that, towards the end. And that was really nice, but they didn't really use it a lot, which was a shame, because
they
I thought that
you a lot when you used that thing too.
They did, yeah, they did, yeah, for sure.
I mean, yeah, that was a nice little thing they added. It was like super Tomb Raider too, like even the walls you used it on, like they look like Tomb Raider walls.
That's there's a lot of back and forth between those games now, yeah, for sure.
I mean, and it's fine, like I don't really appreciate it. Like it's not interesting or fun in a way, like it's just so often necessary for whatever reason. Like, and in the weirdest, like, inhuman ways, too. Like, I get that Uncharted's not super realistic to begin with, but it's, like, super, like, it really breaks that, what the hell is the word for it? I can't remember.
Immersion, I don't know.
Yeah, and you're like, this is a real-life thing, and he's a guy, and then he, like, leaps 40 feet off an edge and just catches, like, an edge, and, like, he would have ripped his arms off.
It gets away with it, though, because I think the animations, the motion capture / animation from the team, they're so on point that it's just like every time he leaps or jumps, to me it's like, oh, that looks really, really cool. But he is ultimately a superhero.
Yeah, I felt like they didn't do... There are definitely a couple of longer jumps that like he did, but there weren't nearly as many I felt like in the other game where he is leaping like 30 feet. And I know like they also use like the rope to kind of like navigate through that too. Like, oh, he's going to leap 30 feet, but he better latch onto this thing or else he's going to die. And I died a lot. But I just really enjoyed the rope just because it made some of like... It just mixed it up a little bit more compared to... Had they not had that in there and it was just, climbing up more cliffs and walls and such, it would have been... it would have still looked pretty. It still like looked great, but I appreciated that. It made it a lot more fun. Like there were constant like situations where I would just swing back and forth and try to like launch myself super far in the air just because it was fun and like it looked so good and
it always looked cool. Yeah,
exactly.
For sure.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like it never got to the point where I was like, oh my god, I have to do this again. Like, just please let me just go from area to area without this. Like, it was all fine and everything. but it was never like, oh man, I can't wait to swing. It's just like some of them were cool, especially near the end where you're climbing up the side of the big scary mountain, and you're like, to swing around like the edges, and you're like way off, and everything looks really cool. So you're like, yeah, that's cool. But at the same time, I was never like, I can't wait to Spider-Man up this side of this. Because everything was like, hey, if Drake didn't have a rope, none of this would be possible.
This is true. It's like, it is always a bit weird. You've got four established Uncharted games where you haven't had a rope, you haven't had to slide around everywhere.
He's an expert rope user now.
Yeah, he's an expert rope. But then
he bumped his head in the first game and forgot how to use a rope until Sam came back and taught him again.
Yeah, well, I thought with Sam coming back in the story, I thought he was going to go, oh, hey, you know what we did as kids with the rope? I have a rope now. Why don't you do that? But then he kind of, instead, Drake acted like he's always had a rope.
Yeah.
and it was always part of his tool set, which isn't true. But, like, that works, though, because, like, you have scenes, like, I'm thinking of the ending. There's the ship graveyard at the very end, and you got, like, this whole environment is full of crashed pirate ships, and you're, like, swinging from all the masts, and you're shooting all the bad guys in the bottom, and like all that shit's really, really cool. So when you have a scene like that, then it just kind of works and gels. But yeah, it does take some time to get used to it being such a big deal in this game, for sure.
It's silly, but it works well enough. I felt like it was like, it's fine. It's dumb because it's like retcons like some of the old stuff, but if they hadn't had that and it was just him climbing, like I said, it would have been,
would have been
more of the same, and you probably would have been a little bit possibly more boring because it would have just been here's another wall, here's another wall, don't slip, or here's some bird poop on these ledges, better go this way.
All those bird poop on the ledges. I like how with games they have a rule now where if you have platforming sections, like all the ledges that you can climb are just covered in bird shit, I think it is. Like, just that they always are. They always are.
I mean, at least it got away from just bright yellow, like hazard pieces of wood everywhere. Like, here's this building that's been abandoned for 500 years. Oh, look, a big old yellow ledge. How convenient.
I know the game looks really good, but you can even still tell when something is about to break underneath you. There's a chunk of like a rock ledge, and then the very edge of it's like a lighter gray. You're like, I'm about to jump on this, and it's gonna break. Jump, starts breaking. Oh shit! You're like, I nailed it. All right, just no matter how good games get, that'll never change. You'll always be able to tell when something's about to break.
But I guess in the meantime, yes, that's true, but this is far and away the most gorgeous game I played on my PS4. Like, I know, again, there are other games that, in terms of a raw horsepower, on PC or whatever, that trump it, but it's just the artistic vision of it all and the way it all goes together, and like kind of a pitless, really. Like, I was talking about this with Kev actually on Facebook. I was there's a scene where you're driving up to New Devon in the Jeep, and you're with Elena, and there's just like this really soft piano music playing, and it's just you. The whole scene is about you enjoying the scenery and just taking it in, and that's just like one example of like scene after scene of just like gorgeousness. It's like an unbelievably, I know that's like a trite thing to say now about Uncharted 4 in general, like, oh, it's really pretty, but man, it really, really is.
I can always tell like how good it looked because like my PS4 was like constantly, it sounded like it was gonna explode. Like,
yes!
With how hard it was working. Like,
I had that exact issue.
With like Last of Us.
It actually
on
crashed
PS4.
on me once, I think, because it got too hot.
Yeah, it did that a couple.
Wow.
Like the game crashed.
That's
a few
interesting
times for me.
Yeah, because I thought it was just mine, but it's not apparently, because it sounded like I had to put in my earphones because I just couldn't hear the dialogue because my PS4 was working so hard. So yeah,
but they know what they're doing. I'll be excited for whatever is next, and it'll be out on PS4K, and it'll look even better, and they'll use that extra power, and it'll be great.
Yeah, I won't be seeing any of that, but this it was enough for me. But yeah,
what I'll do is I'll send you my Batman PS4 to trade.
Right,
I'm obviously going to keep my Destiny PS4 because I need
How many have you got now? Is it just the two, right?
Just the two.
Just the two.
Yeah, just the two. The one that I haven't even, it's just sitting on my entertainment system, still in like the white, like foamy wrap, because I haven't done anything with it.
Because you're a big grown man.
Yep, I'm a real boy. I living a real boy's life.
Yep.
I was going to bring up, Uncharted's always been known for the set pieces, and this one has a shitload of them, of course.
What were your favorites? Because again, it's a big thing of this one doesn't have a key scene. With Uncharted 2 is the train, 3 it was the walk in the desert with the plane, things like that. This doesn't have that, but I think it has loads of little ones that are just as cool.
Some of my favorite ones were the second fight scene with Nadine.
Yes!
The first one is pretty cool, but it's just contained to that one room. The second one, you are just kicking the shit out of each other, all
Kev,
three of you.
You are so wrong. That first one is fucking stupid.
No, you're wrong, Evan. We outnumber you.
Bullshit.
It's not bullshit. It's your argument that it was crap because it was basically you couldn't beat her. There was no real strategy. It was just you were taking.
Yeah, I literally just started mashing square to see if I could end it.
Which is bullshit. Which is entirely the point. She's meant to own you.
Yeah, why can't she just do it in a cutscene? Why are you forcing me to just arbitrarily press buttons to no end? You can't do anything with it. You're like, Alright, I think I can get a hit in, and you just can't. It's impossible, no matter what is happening.
That's the point. She's a badass, and you're an old man, and you can't do anything.
No.
Alright, anyway, but yes.
That second fight scene, especially when you sneak around and you Superman punch
you swing around. Yeah, the second one was way cooler.
Yeah,
that was great. Kicks the shit out of you out of a window.
Yep. It's great because when you're climbing up the side and they push, Sam pushes her into the wall and breaks out as you're climbing by. Yeah, it's so great. That was one of my favorite scenes. The tipped over tower was pretty cool. That was a great little, obviously a shorter section.
Yeah, that was nice. Yeah.
And then I loved running away from the armored vehicle the second time because when he's climbing up this tower, he's like, I'll be safe up here, and the armored vehicle just smashes right into it.
With me, there's just prior to that, there's another armored truck that you take out with an RPG.
I know exactly where this is going.
I had rockets on me, and then he was like, oh shit, I've got to run. I was like, but I've got ammo. And then when you do this awesome chase through this big, all the ruins, and it is very, very effective and striking, you see a Sully who gives you a rocket, which I already had, and then you beat him with it. It's just oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, it was annoying too. I sat there for probably 10 to 15 minutes. The thing would roll up behind you, and I'm I got 3 RPG shots. I took out the last one and 2. Okay, I can do this. Shoot him, die. I was like, the fuck am I supposed to do?
You're meant to can't just blow it up and then walk the 2 miles over to where Sully is. Oh, hey, Sully.
No. Yeah, and we'll talk about it later, but obviously, the game does reference and have you play as Crash Bandicoot.
That sequence is Crash Bandicoot as shit.
That is so Crash Bandicoot. Yeah, with the perspective as well. Yeah.
There's even crates as you're running by that are just there for no reason. Yep. It's great. But yeah, those were, I think, as far as set pieces go. Obviously, the clock tower falling apart.
I was going to say. I love that as well, yeah. That was really
but there's so many, I had this whole list of, like Liam said, there wasn't one big set piece that they depended on, and then, the rest were forgettable. This game constantly had, fantastic action sequences throughout the whole thing.
Yeah.
The museum, obviously, when you crash through that window, I know Liam loved that. We talked about that a little bit, crashing through the window, right next to Sam was great.
Now, the reason why that scene was so good is because up until that point, you've not really got into a firefight. You've not really been playing, as Drake anyway, Uncharted as you would know it to be. And yeah, you go crashing through this window and Sam's like, oh, what the hell did you just do? How? Why? And then you just the music starts rousing up in the background, and you're just smiling because it's just so goddamn fun. But yeah, it was just, that's the thing, Kev. It was really hard to nail down a few or just one. It's a succession. Only just now, I'm trying to pass all the levels that you go to, all the areas around the world, and I've completely forgotten about Scotland, which was awesome. But because that was so early on, I've just it's gone from my memory. But there was a bits at the end of that which I liked as well. It's just oh, whatever. It's all good.
I'm trying to think of my favorite ones. I also like the tower falling, and that was pretty fun. That was a good one.
I don't know how Sully survived. It's like, he just got crushed by, all the falling shit. He's fine.
That was the same thing with me. Like, I know since Elena is a follower, but when you're, or a companion or whatever, when you're in the crazy pirate catacomb things and everything is ready to explode, like, constantly. Yeah. And I was running through and she was like a good, 10 paces behind me, and I would run past something and it would blow up. I'm like, yeah, she's dead. And she'd be like, I'm good, just follow up right next behind you, and you're like, oh, come on. She would totally have gotten blown to fucking smithereens.
I was gonna say, at least they did a really good job, like fixing the AI, so like your AI partner, like Ellie, wasn't just like wandering like right in front of the bad guys.
It still totally happens if you pay attention.
Not totally. Nearly as bad as,
but it's not like as the obvious thing, yeah. And obviously with The Last of Us, the whole game really is about stealth and being quiet, so you tend to notice it a lot more. Yeah. That's like, what did you think of the Jeep, driving around stuff? Because that was a much bigger part in this one.
It was fine, except for sometimes it feels like the turning would just break.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, I was driving, I'm like, yeah, killing it, and then I would like try and turn, and it's like really acting stiff about it, and I'm like, I don't understand. And then I'd have to reverse and then turn more. I don't know if that happened to you guys, but for me, it was constantly like fighting this thing.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, there is that. I didn't experience it too much myself, no. But it was more like a trade-off. It was like... And I think this speaks to why the game also felt so long. Is, that a pirate island at the end? I think I explored the whole of that island, because there's like a part of that where you have to go upriver and you're going through the rapids and you're going across all this environment. Like, it blew my mind how much bigger just... geographically, space-wise it was, and a lot of it was just getting from A to B. Kevin, because you got a platinum and you went and saw all this bits and bobs, like, is there more stuff to see? Because I just went wherever the story told me to go, basically, but I was aware I was missing tons of shit, tons of stuff I just never saw because I was just going straight forward.
Yeah, there's definitely, because obviously like the Madagascar area is the biggest when you're there.
Yeah.
I talked about it in my review a little bit. Like, I love actually being able to be like an adventurer and a treasure hunter, because obviously in the earlier games, like, yes, you are chasing the big quote unquote treasure and you're finding like these little trinkets along the way. This with like, they brought in like not just collectibles, but like contextual collectibles, like notes, stuff you jot down, the stuff that Nate,
those are great.
Yeah, like the stuff like Nate writes in his notebook, like the little sketches. It like makes you feel so much like Nathan Drake and like so much like an adventurer. Like, he has, like, you see it earlier in the game, he has like all these notebooks and stuff, and obviously we learn like it's like from essentially what his mom did, but you feel like you're actually an adventurer opposed to like just a guy killing thousands of dudes and then finding a treasure and like, losing it.
He would take the time to draw stuff before it inevitably gets destroyed by whatever he's doing. So like, it was nice actually. After I finished the game, there's an option in the main menu to just go through his journal that he's collected. And like, every room that you're in basically has something that he's made a little note of or drawn. Like, there's a whole thing that you can just read there, and they've got all in-game notes from past characters, from hundreds of years ago. It's just, it's really, really cool, because I don't know about you, I could not give a fuck, or I did not care at all about the collectibles in the other games. I mean, outside of getting trophies or whatever, there's just like, I just don't care. Whereas in here, it isn't so much the actual treasures, but there's a ton of things that you can just constantly see.
Yeah, because obviously there's still like the dumb, like just collectible treasures that are like relics from the past, but like the notebook stuff and the collectible like notes and letters about like Burns and like all that, like Avery and all that stuff. It just adds so much, because obviously we can talk about it. Like, I loved like the pirate story of Avery and like of all the pirates. It was just, it was just such like a great little story. And obviously there are tons of parallels to Nate and Sam and Rafe.
Yes,
but it was just, I mean, like, how could you not love pirates? And they did a great job with like a pirate story.
Yeah.
It was a great like overall story. There, obviously we're talking about spoilers, but there wasn't anything supernatural, which was like a very like,
thank God.
Yeah, a very mature choice. I thought that there may be like when you're getting into like Libertalia, and it's like,
pirate ghost.
Yeah, it's like they make that joke. Yeah, you get into Libertalia, and it's like, what happened here? Like, I was like, is it like spooky monkeys or spooky undead pirates? Like, I was like, please, like. Please don't do anything. And they didn't, and it was like,
human greed.
Yeah, it would have been super easy to have something spooky there happening. Like, oh, look, Avery's alive, and you have to fight him in a final battle because he's an old spooky pirate man. Like, it was like a very mature, generally like how the game approaches it, like a very mature choice to just make it like a very human story. Obviously, like paralleling to the past, which is great. Like, because I thought, especially when you're in like Avery's, like you're going through those catacombs, I was like,
oh, dude, those caves are horrible.
Like when your lamp goes out. And like Elena is lighting those matches, I was like, please don't something spooky pop up and ruin this. Like they mess with those expectations too. Like they know what they're doing, and it's like I'm sure they were like, hey, let's try to make it seem one way, but then obviously it's much different, which was hugely appreciated because it contributed to the overall story, which was like super super strong.
I was a bit unsure when I heard initially that the game was about pirate treasure because when you think about Uncharted or Indiana Jones, it's always after, like, it's an actual artifact of a certain name, of a certain nature. Whereas treasure seems a bit generic and broad. But, like, that's the thing, everyone knows what treasure is. You know that it means money, and that's a good thing. And then you want a Nathan or you want Sam to get rich, and, you're in it with them, and you understand that very basic thing. It's gold, fucking gold. Yes, yes, go get the gold. And Avery and like all of the pirate captains, I was really surprised by how much I, started to care about what they got up to and kind of things like that. And Avery, it's so weird. It's like he's like the bad guy, but he's also a representative of all the characters and how far they're gonna go. And like I found out more about Avery than I thought I ever would. And then by virtue of finding out about him and, the other pirates, then I also understood Rafe more and Sam more. Like, it all just kind of tied together. It was cool.
Because I was going to say, not that you hated Nadine, Evan, but how did you feel about Rafe / Nadine overall? Because I really liked them as kind of like a pair.
I liked Rafe as he kind of represented also like the weird brain damage thing that Nate and Sam both have, where they have like this addiction to finding things to the point of like lying to their wives, pushing people away, getting like people they know killed, and they're just like, whatever, gotta find the treasure. Like,
yeah,
he had that same kind of madness thing to where like he was straight up crazy in the end. Like I
loved my favorite thing with Rafe. My favorite thing ever was when Nadine is saying that he should stop and he should just you're going mad,
have and leave.
They're standing over Avery, his corpse, and Twos, and Nadine's like, look what happened to them, and he's like, what? I don't see it, and he's like covered in blood and shit, and everything's on fire, and he's just like all about the treasure. It's just like, oh my god, just great, just great.
Like I really love like his speech towards the end, like in his dialogue with Nate.
Yes.
Because it's the same sort of thing like we talked about it on our Civil War cast. Like he's not like Lazarevich, where he's like wants to rule the world and he wants like infinite power. Like his little dialogue at the end with Nate, where he's like, I've been handed everything on a silver platter, and like this is mine. I want this. Like he has put in a ton of work. Like it's not like he hasn't been searching for this for a while. It's like he's dedicated the past. I mean, we can assume like 15 years plus. Yeah, if he's been just searching for that whole time, which is great because it gives him very human motivations. I mean, he's not good at finding it, obviously, over 15 years.
He sucked at it. He was the worst.
He's the worst. Like, in Scotland, he was like 100 yards away from where he should have gone. It's like, for fuck's sake. But yeah.
I loved his bit with the cell phone, too. He's like, don't you know how technology works? Like, we've been tracing your phone calls. But I just love, like, his very, like, human motivations at the end that kind of, like, encapsulated, like, he just wanted something for himself, which isn't unlike Nate or Sam, obviously.
Yeah, no, for sure. And like all the acting performances were top notch. Again, like it's a really canny mixture of a great animation and just really good casting. Like, again, you hear it again and again, but you kind of forget, once you're in the flow of the game, you kind of forget that you're watching characters from a game. It's just like they look and sound very real and very realistic, which is always really cool to see. Like, it passed the Sarah test in that, Sarah's my wife, and when she's passing and then she sees the game, she stops and she just stares at it for a bit and she's like, that looks really, really good. And she never says that about anything. So yeah.
You see, and then it does, like we talked about, it's incredible and looking and acted and stuff. And it almost looks and is acted too well to where when it's like, okay, now climb and shoot, and you're like, I'd rather just watch this. Like, It almost,
I know what you mean.
Yeah, I'd almost rather just watch like a 2-hour animated movie that tells the story than like have, oh man, we're getting so close, and then the next thing, it like camera turns over, and then you're like, all right, now run through the jungle for 3 hours, and you're like, no, I don't think I will. And it's like, well, you have to, and you're like, oh, God damn it.
Yeah, one of the things I do think that helped with that is obviously like the influence of The Last of Us and the optional conversations, because opposed to
you're just walking around, it's like,
yeah,
bing, pops up, and you're like, oh, I can talk about the chalupa or whatever we just had.
Because like there are great moments that you get with both Sam and Elena. Obviously, like there's some stuff with Sully which was missed, that like you didn't get a one-on-one with him, but it would have been super hard to fit it in. And you get some stuff with him obviously when you're going through Madagascar. But I do think like those optional conversations helped a ton with some of the, obviously not like exactly during the action sequences, but it definitely helped with the pacing. And there are some great moments, like the elevator ride with Elena. There's a scene in Libertalia where you're just like in this bar with Sam and you're talking about like, what if our lives were different, essentially. And it's like this great conversation that you could get. Obviously, just Evan, I don't think you saw that. Yeah, you just walked by it, I'm sure. But there's some great stuff like that.
Was so strange to me because that's not Uncharted. That's not just to have this whole semi-open sort of town basically where you can just have the freedom to explore and just to wander around and yeah, you'll encounter some really nice scenes. I actually got lost a few times in this game, which never happens to me in Uncharted. Like there were times where I wasn't quite sure which way to go because there were quite a lot of options, which was nice.
Yeah, there were a lot of dead ends too. Like you could swing across a chasm and you're like, up, not this way, Sam, and you have to like loop back around, which was great because
it's so weird because it's not been like that ever before. But
and
it kind of speaks to
it's not the video gamey thing to do either, to like give you a dead end and have to backtrack. But it looks so good, and like I was like, okay, I can swing back the other way, and hopefully I don't fall off, and I can enjoy it. So because usually in the other Uncharted games, like the only reason why you would go off the beaten path was to find a treasure. Otherwise, it's like pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I enjoyed the little exploration things, and there was the good side conversations, but I wish that there were more that they just happen instead, like, because you could totally, that thingy will pop up, ding, little like chat box, and you could totally just keep walking, and then that never happens.
Yeah, no, it's true. Yeah,
like one of the highlights was like definitely the Jeep ride in Madagascar, because there was just like regular conversation.
Yeah, like you didn't have to go press triangle and be like, hey, what's up? Like if it was just they were talking to each other, it would have been, I think, a little bit better, because a lot of people probably didn't see that. They were just walking and they saw that, they didn't get close enough, fast enough, and it goes away.
Yeah.
But what I kind of feel like they did better in this game was that when they did do the idle chatter thing, unlike with some of the other Uncharted games, they actually talked about their actual lives and they had human conversations. Like it wasn't just quippage, it wasn't just like Elena and Drake, say for example, they had stuff to work through in this game, and they actually did. Inside the game, they had kind of real, honest to God, conversations about their relationship and their future and things like that, and it kind of wasn't just dealt with at a later date, maybe at the end or something like that. It was all, even when you weren't shooting and jumping and kind of doing all this cool stuff, the stuff that I really liked was just when you were walking around and they were talking to each other, because it was acted really, really well.
Let's see. Let's round it out. What do you guys think of the ending? We'll end on that. That's a good ending spot.
With the epilogue?
Plus the game, yeah. I mean...
the actual ending was nice and low-key for me. I like the sword fight.
The epilogue chapter was awesome. But yes, that boss fight, actually. I was really scared, because the boss fights in these type of games usually suck.
Like, really shit. Yeah.
Like, it's not just Uncharted. It's, Tomb Raider. Any of these weird, like, third-person action-adventure type games, they always have the worst boss fights. Yeah. And this one, I actually enjoyed a little bit. It was fun. And it was like totally fitting.
And it shouldn't have been as good as it was, because it was introducing a sword which you've never used in the Uncharted game ever before. He hasn't even held a sword ever before. And you've had to, learn how to dodge and block left and right. You are using things that you've just never had to use before. Mechanically as well, but it looked cool as fuck. And Rafe, he has these great one-liners, and it's just all the treasure is burning around you, and I got really
stressed out because all the gold was melting. I was just like, no, just let's quickly get to the end of this fight so I can try and save some treasure. That's not the point of the game at all. But yeah, it was good.
Yep. Same feelings. Like, I loved it. Like, obviously it was very heavily inspired by Goonies. Like, oh, look, an old spooky treasure ship in a big old cave, and now the cave's falling apart. Let's poor One-Eyed Willie and his friend Two-Eyed Bill. Yeah, it was great because I wasn't sure what to expect with like a final boss battle, because obviously like you knew it was going to come, and I think it was like really, really well done because it was.
I didn't expect it to be with him at all, though. I really didn't expect any kind of boss encounter with Rafe, because he didn't seem like that kind of guy, but he, at that point in the story, it made sense because he was batshit crazy.
Because I figured like maybe like a shootout on the boat or something, because obviously like they did some melee combat in the boss fight for the third one, but the first two you were just shooting at dudes. So thankfully it wasn't that. And well, like I mentioned before, like Rafe had great dialogue and it was a nice little ending, and it was tense at the end. Like you're like, oh, are they gonna make it out? Like for half a second you think like he's gonna leave. Like Sam is gonna
Sam was gonna die then.
Yeah, he's just gonna have to leave him behind.
I didn't have time to process how I felt about him dying, but then he didn't, and it was fine. And then I'm there feeling, oh, I'm actually really glad that no one died. On that note, me and Kevin were talking about this before. I don't get why people wanted a dark ending or a death or some kind of ending like that to make it have meaning. As it is, no one died and we had a really happy ending and it was still fucking great.
Yeah, I felt the same way. Like there was early on when the game was getting announced and stuff, I was like, I wouldn't mind if they went out, because it was called A Thief's End and everyone was like, oh shit.
Yeah. He's gonna die. It's Thief's End.
And I was like, I wouldn't mind that as long as it's done like right. And I was hoping, and a part of me was hoping they would, just so I wouldn't ever have to deal with them making another Uncharted game. Because I'd rather
too much money, Evan.
I'd rather see them do new stuff. Like they've been doing this shit for so goddamn long.
Yeah.
And I know Last of Us is quote unquote different, but it's not that. And so I was like, yeah, maybe killing them so I wouldn't have to deal with it anymore. But I actually really liked the ending, and I really liked the epilogue especially. I was like, because it ends and you're like, we got out, boom, let's sail on out of here, let's say bye. And then I was like, that's cool. And then the epilogue was awesome. It's probably my favorite chapter, aside from I think it was 11. There's some debate on when the car chase was. But yeah, the epilogue was fantastic.
Yeah, that is the real cap to the series that you needed. The ending that we had in the chapter before, that's the end of this game's story, but that's not the end of the series. Yeah, to have a final cap, just start to finish, perfect. I can't wait to go back a little bit and just, because there was whole rooms of their house I didn't see, and of course I should mention that you were playing as Drake's daughter. Whoa, didn't see that coming. And is her name Cassie?
Cassie,
yep. Cassie. Kevin, what did you think about that? Just kind of go into that a bit more.
Yeah, I mean, it was a huge surprise because I thought, it would just, there was that fade to white as you're escaping from the pirate ship with the really nice, somber, tense music, and then you wash up on the beach or whatever. And then I'm trying to remember because I skipped all the cutscenes most of the cutscenes on my other playthroughs.
Crash Bandicoot next.
I actually won that one. Yeah.
No, yeah, she buys you the shipping salvage company, and then it goes the epilogue.
Right. I forgot about that.
So it opened, I was like, oh, I'm playing Crash again. Cool, that's cool.
I thought it was just gonna be like Drake sitting on the couch because he says I'll beat your score at the end of the buying thing. He's like,
I was so busy. I was so busy being frustrated at Crash Bandicoot because I'm really bad at it. I'm really bad at it, and I kept dying, and I actually lost all my lives, and he was looking really sad because I got no points, and I was like, oh, fuck shit. And then suddenly, whoa, it's Cassie! What? My mind was blown because my head just wasn't in the right place at all.
Because it's great because obviously they took from The Last of Us some of the environmental storytelling. So there is this nice beach house that you can explore, and there's
God, they have such a nice house.
Yeah, there's so much great stuff. There's Savage Starlight 2 reference. There's Last of Us possibly 2 Easter egg in there. And there's just so much great stuff to look at. And there's a note from Sully about working with Sam, they're gonna visit. You can feed the dog 3 or 4 treats.
I only did 2. I was like, I don't want to make it fatter.
Make it sick.
Only Naughty Dog.
That's the best dog.
Only Naughty Dog would add such a really well done dog at the very end of a game. To do that dog, to do it to that level of animation is really time intensive, like really hard to do. And they're like, yeah, we'll just do it for this a 5-minute bit of the game, kind of right at the end. Like, the dog was awesome. Yeah,
it's great too, because I'm not sure if you guys saw it, but when you're in the market, if you buy this apple from a vendor, and then if you interact with a lemur, and the lemur steals your apple. And then you have this nice little conversation with Sully, and you talk about if you get a dog, you're going to name it after Sully or Victor, and that's what the dog's name is. So I didn't even see that part until my third playthrough. Then I was like, oh, holy shit, that's why they named the dog Victor, which is like I said, all the little collectibles.
I was blazing through the game.
Yeah, like I said, that optional stuff ties in. And it's great. So
it ties into the earlier chapter as well, which we also didn't talk about, which is one of my favourite bits of the game, with Drake in the attic, and he's at home, and he's just like an average guy, and he's just going through all his old stuff. He's got his old journals and things like that, and then he gets out a toy gun, and there's a fake music in the background, and he's going through his old memories. Basically, that was just great. And then to have a Cassie at the end going through that same stuff, going, oh, what's this coin? Oh, what's this thing? And it was just really, really good.
Yeah, they hit the nostalgia bone right on or nail on the head. It was such a nice bookend, and obviously it introduces a lot of stuff that Uncharted makes too much money for Sony for them not to do something again. I mean, Liam and I talked about it a little bit, whether obviously I don't think there's not going to be a Nathan Drake Uncharted, but obviously a Cassie Drake Uncharted, or we talked about the DLC, because obviously if they do DLC again, whether you're playing as Sam and Sully, or something that would be super cool is if you play as Cassandra, if you play as their mom, or if you play as something to do with obviously Cassandra and the spooky old lady,
the super old lady who just looked she was so well realized as an old person in a video game. She creeped me the fuck out. She was like, I am looking at a dying old woman, and it's gross. And then she did die, and it's like, oh my god.
But yeah, I'm super excited, because hopefully they do some DLC, and hopefully, obviously, it was super interesting what they did with Left Behind, because they improved on some of the stuff that they did in The Last of Us, and made
I was going to say, Evan, you didn't play that, did you? The Last of Us DLC?
Nope.
You didn't play that.
I redboxed that game too, so I didn't.
Because, quite a lot of Uncharted 4, and the bits that you're talking about liking, is very heavily inspired by that.
Yeah, because in Left Behind, there's a sequence where you're in an old Halloween shop and you're just putting on masks, which is similar to when you're in the old mansion and you can put on those different like the samurai helmet or the Viking helmet or whatever. Hopefully they do something interesting for story DLC. Hopefully that they do something interesting and it's not just, oh, here's Sam and Sully 6 months later on an adventure. Hopefully they do something cool, because they definitely leave some threads open that can.
They probably can't do Cassie. I mean, they could. They absolutely could, but I just mean that wouldn't that tread a little bit too closely to a Tomb Raider? You know what I mean? Just in terms of it's a woman archaeologist who likes treasure and likes to shoot stuff. It is a little bit too similar at that point, but that would be cool as well, because she is much more likable than Lara Croft for sure. So. God.
Yeah, in as much as I just steamrolled through the game, I didn't give two shits about, the little lockets or weird keys you could find. I totally was walking, the epilogue chapter probably took me longer than most other chapters, just because I was oh yeah, I'll totally fucking walk around this whole island, and their little office side house with all the cool shit in it was really interesting to look at.
Did you have that moment when you went out onto the beach, when you're going from the house right onto this gorgeous beach, and I was like, oh, this island feels so good. The sand and the way it blows. I was like, I want to be here right now.
I was super jealous. Yeah,
damn. Do you think that they're living on Avery's island? Because I know they didn't really clarify that, but there was a point where you're talking to Elena that. Oh, this
she
island.
Mentions about the vacation. Yeah.
It's this is a beautiful island. We should. It would be a great place to vacation. And I know they didn't address it, but I was like, are they actually living on Avery's island still?
Why would you ever want to live on that island again? You're we had a terrible experience.
Well, the nice part that you didn't explore.
Yeah, exactly.
Section.
No, I don't think it was. I think it was just some nice fucking beach.
Could be, yeah.
They're rich as shit.
Well, there's also
Probably own the island.
There's in the side house thing. There's a map of the Yucatan Peninsula, so I thought that's where it was.
Oh, okay. Right, yeah.
They're like mapping out everything around. She's like, "Oh, they almost got it nailed down." And I was like, "I think they live on the Yucatan Peninsula." But I really liked going through the house and looking at everything, or going out to the dock and hanging out with the dog. She's like, "Go find him," and the dog just sits down. And I'm like, "Worthless piece of shit." But yeah, I really liked it overall. Like, I've been a notoriously hardcore naysayer for this franchise because, let's be honest, like this one is leagues better than any of the other ones.
It is for sure. Like,
yeah, it's just not as cheeky and stupid, like in this weird wink way.
I don't mind that. I love Uncharted 2, but I kind of find it hard to go back and play, and I have, when the Uncharted collection came out just before Christmas, I tried them all, and then that's all I did, because it was like, there are some good moments, and what I really enjoyed about those games was the way the writing was put together, but as like a game, as a thing that you play from start to finish, there was these big long moments of just like, this is pretty boring, this is quite repetitive, this isn't quite as tight as it could be. But yeah, before I want to play that over and over again. Not straight away, but it is there for me to play, and that's good. So
I'll probably never play it again, but I liked playing it this time.
Yeah.
How long?
That's the one thing I'm glad that it won you over. Yeah.
How long was your playthrough, Liam? Do you know?
Oh, I actually have no idea. Like I said, I had played it intensely over the course of like a 3 days / 4 days.
You could just look at the statistics page when the credits are rolling.
I don't care about these things. You always ask me these sort of things.
I was just interested to see how long it took you.
I was gonna say my first playthrough was like 13 hours about, I think. So
that sounds about right. Which is an acceptable and good length, and just the right length, I think, for this type of game. Like, if I had one more, there's a chapter where you're on your way to every ship, and it's your last little explore the island bit, and I was just like, I just want to get to the ship now, guys.
Mine was 11 hours 15 minutes. And it felt like longer though. It felt like it was taking forever.
Where?
Liam and I talked about it a little bit. Like at the end, like there's like it feels a little bit long, but I love like spending time with Elena. It was the last bit where you are alone, where I was like, well, I'm just climbing, and it was like a little bit less interesting compared to like all the great interactions that have come before.
That's it, and that's what Uncharted does all the time. It's really rare just to have a Drake by himself. In this game, there's one bit where that works really well, when you just crash landed on a pirate island and it's raining and there's like he's lost and he's hurt and things like that. That's cool, but for the most part, I think Uncharted's best when you're in a group of 2 or 3.
The rain looks terrible, obviously.
Oh, John can go fuck himself. For reference, John Murray said just before we start the podcast that he thought the rain sequence didn't look all that good. And that's fine. That's his opinion. It is also wrong, but it's fine.
All right. I was going to say, he said it left him wanting.
Left him wanting, right, yeah, because let's just move on. Fuck.
Move on right to the end of the show.
In general, yeah. Well, we didn't talk about Doom. That was the other game that we were supposed to talk about.
I haven't got to play it yet.
Oh, that's true. I was going to ask Kev some stuff, but we can put a pin in that for next
literally
week.
Finished installing, and I'm just waiting to start it.
It's, I mean, just as a side note, like,
it looks fun as shit.
But yeah, it's super fucking fun. Like, I didn't buy it. I did rent it from Redbox.
Hey, me too.
Like, after my time that I spent with it, like, if I wasn't broke, I would just return it and go buy it. Because, like, I am super enjoying it. I didn't expect to after, like, the minimal time I spent in the multiplayer beta.
The multiplayer sucks, yeah.
Yeah, I did not like the multiplayer, but the campaign is just super fast and fun, and like, it obviously, like, it makes Doom feel super modern, but it feels like, it stays, like, true to its roots and introduces some new things. There's tons of upgrades, weapons, obviously, like, story is, like, spooky demons, but it's definitely interesting with, like, the characters that are there with you and what's going on, and it's just, like, so much fun, and it's, like, the perfect, not mindless, but kind of like follow up to something that was like a little bit more heavy, like Uncharted was. So, it's great. Like, I know that there are worries that, reviewers didn't get the game early. It's going to be shit. It's going to be shit. You shouldn't buy that game. But, I am fully enjoying, what I've played so far. I think I'm about halfway. There's like 16 chapters and I'm on like 8 or 9 and I've already played, played a nice chunk. I'm going to assume it's going to be like 15, 20 hours, which is definitely longer than I thought it would be, because I played, when did I wake up? Pretty much from like, I played a good chunk last
Now that's how you measure your day and what you do with your life. When did I wake up and start playing this
How
game?
many video games did I do today? Because I played from like 1 in the morning till like 5 or 6, so like 5 or 6 hours, and I've put in, probably another 5 or 6 today, so I'm expecting it to be like 15, 20 hours, which is definitely longer than I thought. I thought it would be like, here's your 6-hour Doom campaign, go shoot some demons for a little bit.
That's what I was worried
I'm
about.
exploring the environments though, so I'm doing a little bit extra, but it does, like I said, there's nice progression, and like it's super fun to explore like these interesting environments and find like kind of all the secrets, like how cool it used to be way back in the day when you found something secret. So,
well, I guess we'll talk more about it when Evan has tried it last. Now, whenever we stop recording, then he's going to just go straight on and play Doom. I don't give a fuck about Doom, so it's cool.
Hey.
But I'm interested to see what you've said about it, because I didn't expect that a level of praise at all.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, like, I had no interest either, but I was like, Redbox is gonna have it, I might as well, spend, $10 maybe by the time I'm done with it. Yeah. And especially, like you said, you really liked Wolfenstein, like the remake that they did.
Yes.
They did such a great job with that. And it's pretty, like, I'm feeling pretty similar, if not, like, better, because obviously, like, Wolfenstein had some issues in the first, like, hour and a half, 2 hours.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if you like mechanically, how Wolfenstein worked and how it played, I would definitely recommend, Doom is something to definitely check out, because it was not on my radar, and I'm glad that...
Now it is.
Yeah.
Now it's all over it. Yeah.
It's a blast, and I'm not playing any Battleborn, which is the bad part, but...
Good. Let it die.
Oh, I like Battleborn.
A bitter rivalry.
Overwatch is so much better, I'm sorry. It's ridiculous how much better it is. I have tried it a little bit more since going through the tutorial, and I played a few matches of it, and it's hard because I put in quite a bit of time into Overwatch, and it just really doesn't compare. Anyway, we'll talk about that, I'm sure, more when Overwatch comes out.
Counting down the days for that to come out.
It's just so up my alley, it's ridiculous, and I don't even like online shooters all that much, but I had so much fucking fun with Overwatch.
Anyway, so let's get out of here.
Doom for you.
Nah, I gotta go to the store first.
Sleep for me.
Actually. Damn it.
I need to toast the rest of these Welsh cakes because they were great, and I want to have some before I go to bed.
So lay in bed with your nightcap on, your little
Yeah, man.
stick.
Yeah. Do it.
Alright, we're taking off. See you later.